Filipino tennis star Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans stay this late to see a player play. Alex breaks down after a brutal 3-hour battle at Indian Wells. Your ultimate home for the rawest, most heart-pounding and emotionally charged stories unfolding right now on the professional tennis tour. And if you thought you had already seen everything the California desert had to offer this season, you might want to sit down, grab a box of tissues, and brace yourself, because what happened at the 2026 BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells was far more than just another tennis match. It wasn't simply a sporting event. It was a cinematic moment filled with sacrifice, family, pain, and an unshakable belief that cannot be manufactured. This story is different. This one hits straight to the soul. Picture the scene. Stadium 3 at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, buzzing with electricity, pulsing with raw energy beneath the blazing California desert sun. The dry, relentless heat drains the body and clouds the mind after just an hour on court. Yet there she stands, 20-year-old Alex Eala, the Filipino sensation and pride of a nation of more than 100 million people. Facing Diana Yastremska, the battle-hardened veteran from Ukraine who has fought through countless matches throughout her career. What followed was a war that lasted 2 hours and 43 minutes. An exhausting clash of baseline rallies, relentless exchanges, and momentum swings that felt like a pendulum on fire. When the final ball sailed long off Yastremska's racket and the umpire confirmed the result, 7-5 for 6, 7-5 in Eala's favor, Stadium 3 didn't just applaud, it exploded with emotion. But the moment that truly separated this match from every other contest that week came right after the final point. Instead of reacting the way most players do, Alex stood there overwhelmed by the weight of the moment. At the end of most tennis matches, the winning moment is loud and explosive. Players collapse to the baseline with their arms spread wide, scream at the sky, or pump their fists toward the roaring crowd in a familiar celebration we've seen countless times on tour. But this moment was different. Alex Eala didn't fall to the court, and she didn't shout in triumph. Instead, she turned quietly, almost reverently, and walked straight toward the stands. What happened next was the kind of moment that reminds everyone why sports at their deepest level are not really about money, trophies, or fame. They're about life. They're about the long, invisible road that takes someone from where they began to where they finally stand. Waiting for her in the stands was her father, Michael Eala. His hand, trembling with emotion he could barely contain, reached out and gently grasped her shoulder. It wasn't a grand gesture or a dramatic celebration, just a single quiet touch that spoke louder than any speech ever could. In that simple moment lived the silent acknowledgement of a journey that began years ago in the busy, vibrant streets of Manila and stretched across oceans and time zones to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, where a determined young girl with an enormous dream learned how to fight, endure, and grow. Now, under the blazing desert sun of Indian Wells, that journey had led to this exact moment. The look shared between father and daughter held an entire decade of sacrifice compressed into a single heartbeat. Then came the scene that will live forever in Filipino sports history. Alex turned and buried her face into her mother Riz's shoulder right there in front of the world. With cameras rolling and the crowd still buzzing with disbelief as the stadium continued roaring, Alex finally broke down. These weren't quiet, polite tears that could easily be wiped away. They were deep, uncontrollable sobs that shook her entire body. In that moment, the noise of the crowd began to fade. The cameras, the flashing lights, the thousands of spectators, all of it blurred into the background. None of it mattered anymore. Right in the middle of the chaos, her mother held her tightly, pulling her close and whispering softly in Tagalog, the language of home, the language of childhood, the language that carries the warmth of everything safe and familiar. She gently said, "Tapos na, nandito na tayo." In English, it means, "My child, it's over. We are here." Take a moment to really let those words sink in. My child, it's over. We are here. Just 5 simple words in English. Yet in Tagalog, spoken in that tender voice on that shoulder after such a grueling battle, they carried the weight of an entire journey. Those words held every early morning training session, every painful goodbye at the airport, every moment of doubt, every injury, every heartbreaking loss, and every sacrifice the Eala family made to help their daughter reach this moment. They were more than comfort. They were release. They were the breaking open of years of pressure. Pressure that number 20-year-old should have to carry alone. Yet somehow Alex did, with remarkable grace, fierce determination, and extraordinary dignity. Witnessing that moment, even through a screen, was enough to break the composure of even the most seasoned tennis fans. For the Filipino supporters in the stands, the emotion was overwhelming. As the Eala family shared those precious minutes after the final point, fans dressed in Philippine colors rushed toward the railings, waving flags and chanting her name with a passion rarely seen in a first-round match at a Masters 1000 event. But that's the unique magic surrounding Alex Eala. When she steps on court, it never feels like just another match. It feels like a national moment. It becomes a gathering point for a global community. Filipino fans from California, New York, the Middle East, and across Europe somehow find their way to wherever she competes, each carrying a small piece of home with them and placing it on the court beside her. Eala understood that deeply. After the emotional celebration, the tears, and the embrace with her parents that quickly spread across the internet, she didn't rush back to the locker room. Instead, she stayed. She walked slowly along the stands, reaching out to hold the hands of young supporters with tears in their eyes. She thanked them quietly, calling them her extended family, the people who brought a little bit of Manila into the California desert and reminded her that she was never truly alone out there. But beyond the emotion and the unforgettable scenes in the stands, the match itself was an absolute war. Diana Yastremska made sure of that. A multi-title winner on the WTA Tour, Yastremska is known for her thunderous flat ground strokes and fearless competitiveness under pressure. From the opening game, she played like someone with a point to prove. The first set quickly turned into a fierce tug-of-war. Eala, seeded 31st and ranked world number 32 entering the tournament, found her rhythm early and built what looked like a comfortable 5-3 lead. Many watching believed the set was already slipping firmly into her hands. But Yastremska, a player who refuses to follow anyone's script, responded with ferocious determination. She increased the pace, painted the lines with precision, and battled back to level the score at 5-5, shifting the momentum dramatically and sending a ripple of tension through Stadium 3. This was the moment when the version of Alex Eala that has the tennis world buzzing truly appeared. With pressure mounting and the crowd holding its breath, the 20-year-old showed remarkable composure. Instead of tightening up, she remained calm and clinical, forcing 3 consecutive unforced errors from Yastremska in the crucial 12th game. With that breakthrough, she captured the opening set 7-5. First blood to the Filipina sensation. The second set, however, belonged to Yastremska. Suddenly, she found the explosive level that makes her one of the most dangerous players in the sport on her best day. She unleashed a barrage of laser-like winners, dominating rallies from the baseline with her massive forehand and racing ahead to a commanding 4-1 lead. Eala fought back bravely, breaking serve to narrow the gap to 4-3 and reigniting the crowd. But Yastremska's experience proved decisive. She steadied herself, rediscovered her rhythm, and powered through to take the second set 6-4. The match was now perfectly balanced, 1 set apiece, and everything would come down to a deciding third set in a contest that had already reached an extraordinary level of intensity. The third set was where the tension reached an almost unbearable level. This is where legends are forged, and everyone inside Stadium 3 on that scorching California afternoon could feel it from the very first point. Both players held serve again and again, locked in a battle that had long passed the limits of physical comfort. At that stage, it was pure willpower driving them forward. Neither Alex Eala nor Diana Yastremska was willing to give an inch. Every rally felt like a sprinting chess match, strategic, exhausting, and breathtaking to watch. Game after game slipped by in fiercely contested exchanges until Yastremska finally broke through in the 9th game, taking a 5-4 lead and placing herself just 1 service hold away from victory. Suddenly, the Filipino dream seemed to hang by a thread in the blazing desert heat. The stadium fell into a tense silence. The Filipino fans who had been chanting, waving flags, and singing throughout the match were now frozen, holding their collective breath. Was this incredible debut about to end just 1 game short of the finish line? But anyone who had been following Alex Eala over the past year already knew the answer. She simply does not go quietly. She does not fold when the scoreboard says she should. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. With Yastremska serving for the match at 5-4, the Ukrainians' normally reliable serve suddenly faltered at the worst possible moment. Two painful double faults opened the door, and Eala seized the opportunity with fearless determination, breaking back to level the set at 5-5. The crowd exploded with energy. Riding that momentum, Eala then held her own serve to love, taking the lead for the first time in the deciding set at 6-5. In just 2 games, the entire momentum of the match had flipped. Moments earlier, Yastremska had been 1 game away from victory. Now she was fighting simply to stay alive. The 12th game that followed became one of the most nerve-shredding sequences of the match. 6 agonizing deuces stretched the tension to the breaking point, each rally feeling heavier than the last. Yastremska showed incredible resilience, reminding everyone why she is such a dangerous competitor, saving match points with remarkable shot-making and even firing a blistering ace that briefly shifted the pressure back onto Eala. For a moment, Filipino fans in the stands could barely watch, covering their eyes as the drama reached its peak. The pressure cooker had reached its absolute limit, and every single point now carried the weight of the entire match. By the time the match reached its final moments, the tension had been building for far too long. The emotional and physical weight of nearly 3 hours in the California desert had pushed both players to their limits. In the end, Diana Yastremska's serve, so dangerous at times during the match, betrayed her one final time. Already responsible for a staggering number of double faults, her 14th and 15th mistakes on serve handed Alex a 4th match point. Eala stepped forward to receive, calm and composed despite the chaos surrounding her. One last rally followed, and when Yastremska's forehand sailed wide, it was over. The match was done. The dream was alive. The stadium erupted into pure, unrestrained pandemonium. To put it into perspective, 15 double faults in a match at this level is devastating. Yet Yastremska still fought with incredible courage throughout the battle, a testament to her resilience. At the same time, it highlighted something special about Eala's game. Her relentless court coverage and ability to apply pressure make every rally feel urgent, forcing opponents into uncomfortable decisions. Against a seasoned professional on such a big stage, that kind of presence is extraordinary for a 20-year-old player. After the match, with her voice still heavy with emotion and her face flushed from nearly 3 hours under the desert sun, Eala spoke to reporters with remarkable maturity. "I told myself to keep fighting," she said. "I was still in the match, so I really had to dig deep for that one." Mental fortitude was a big part of today's game. The words were simple, but they carried the quiet conviction of someone who truly believed them. This wasn't a player who stumbled into the round of 32 at Indian Wells by accident. Eala earned every step of the way, battling through 2 hours and 43 minutes of punishing tennis that will shape her confidence for the rest of her career. For some time now, the tennis world has been buzzing about Alex Eala. But only recently has the full scale of her rising influence become clear. What commentators and analysts have begun calling the Eala effect is very real, and it's growing at a remarkable pace. At tournaments around the world, crowds are beginning to follow her matches with increasing intensity. Videos featuring her draw massive attention online, even at events packed with the biggest stars in the sport. It's a sign that something special is happening. A 20-year-old player is not only winning matches, she's capturing the imagination of fans across the globe. The rise of Alex Eala is no longer just a story within tennis. It has become a global phenomenon. The young Filipina is now driving some of the most viral content of the season, and that alone says a lot about the impact she is making. Djokovic recently spoke about the Eala effect, praising the incredible energy and unity of the crowd she draws and calling her the biggest tennis player her country has ever produced. When someone with Djokovic's stature acknowledges your cultural impact, it is a clear sign that something truly special is happening. Of course, while the emotional celebration and the unforgettable moment with her mother captured hearts around the world, the tournament itself is far from over. The bracket continues, and waiting for Eala in the round of 32 is an opponent capable of testing any player on the tour: Coco Gauff. The American superstar, currently ranked world number 4 and a former US Open champion, is widely considered one of the brightest young talents in women's tennis today. Gauff advanced through her opening match with authority, defeating Kamila Rakimova in straight sets and showing the kind of sharp, dominant form that suggests she is ready for a deep run in the tournament. She will arrive rested, focused, and highly motivated. There is also recent history between the two players. Just last month at the Dubai Tennis Championships quarterfinal, Gauff defeated Eala in a high-quality match that showcased the strengths of both competitors. On that occasion, Gauff's experience, powerful serve, and ability to dictate rallies from the baseline ultimately proved decisive. But tennis has a way of turning recent defeats into powerful motivation. Eala knows exactly what she is up against now. She understands the margins and the adjustments required, and she enters this matchup carrying the emotional momentum of one of the most dramatic victories of her young career. The Filipino fans will undoubtedly be there again, louder and more passionate than ever. After witnessing the incredible battle against Yastremska, they know that this upcoming clash against Gauff on American soil represents a defining moment in Eala's journey. The question now is simple yet thrilling. Can the 20-year-old sensation do it again? Can Eala step onto that court and find a way past one of the best players in the world? Can she take everything she learned during those exhausting 2 hours and 43 minutes and transform it into another breakthrough performance? 18 months ago, the answer might have seemed uncertain, but today, in March 2026, with her confidence rising and the entire tennis world watching, the possibility suddenly feels very real. After everything we have seen from this young star over the past several months, and especially after what unfolded in Stadium 3 on that blazing California afternoon, the truth is that anything now feels possible. Eala has developed a remarkable habit of turning the improbable into the inevitable. And the journey doesn't stop at Indian Wells. The road ahead is already unfolding, with Eala confirmed to compete in the 2026 Miami Open, the next major hardcourt event on the WTA calendar. She arrives there with confidence, having already made history with a stunning semi-final run in Miami back in 2025. At this stage, the question is no longer whether she belongs among the elite of the sport. She has answered that repeatedly. The real question now is just how high her ceiling can go. Watching her compete, watching her grow, and seeing the way she handles immense pressure with composure that many players take years to develop, the honest answer is that nobody truly knows yet. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes her story so exciting. The teenager who once left Manila carrying nothing but a dream, a racket bag, and unshakable belief is now ranked world number 32. She's forcing seasoned veterans into mistakes on one of tennis's biggest stages, breaking down in her mother's arms while thousands of fans cheer and millions more watch from across the world. She came, she fought, she broke down, and then she stood back up. She always stands back up. That resilience is why her journey has captured the attention of fans everywhere. And as the next chapter approaches, the challenge only grows bigger. Waiting for her is Coco Gauff. The desert heat remains intense. The stakes have never been higher. Eala, 20 years old, world number 32, daughter of Michael and Riza in Wells. It's a reminder of why sports can feel so powerful. Sometimes all it takes are a few words. Tapos na, nandito na tayo. We are here. And with that belief, Eala is ready to write the next chapter of a story that the tennis world simply cannot stop watching. Fresh from Dubai, Filipino tennis star Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans we've seen stay this late to see a player play. So, what does it mean to have this following, especially at this time of night?